Alrighty, hosses, in this video, I want to talk to you about responsive and non-responsive images and the difference between the two, and also how to embed responsive videos so they don't look horrible on your website. Now, before we get to responsive and non-responsive, I'm just going to show you guys some really basic image classes and some styling that you can do with them. And the first one is image, and I have two images that I imported. Here is one called ladies.jpg, and here's another one. This is me when I was I don't know, like in third grade or something. Look at those chompers right there. Those are some beautiful That's exactly what I look like now, by the way. I did not change one bit. Alright, so the source of this first image, let's go ahead and use that teeth one. Teeth.jpg, and that's in my images directory. Teeth.jpg. What a name. Alright, so let's say that we wanted to round the corners of this. Well, there's a built-in class, and this is called image rounded. Now, whenever you stick these on a website, let's say a social networking website, you usually want to give it a set width and height so they don't appear at weird proportions. Now, all of the images on my social network are 230 by 230. So, actually, let me just go ahead and make both of these at once. So this is going to make an image that's 230 wide by 230 tall, and the corners are going to be slightly rounded. Now, for some reason, it's the trend to have images that are completely circle now, especially profile images. So in order to get that effect, use the class image circle. So if I run this, check it out. So this is the first one with slightly rounded corners, and you see these circular ones a lot on, like I said, a bunch of different social networks. Google Plus is doing it. I really like just plain old square images, but whatever floats your boat, there you go. Now, another thing I want to mention is, what is the difference between a responsive and a non-responsive image? Now, let me go ahead and just delete these completely. Alright, so for this, let me go ahead and use images, ladies.jpg, and let's just go ahead and make the responsive one first. So anytime you want your image to be responsive, use the class image responsive. Now what this is going to do is whenever you shrink your screen, or you're just looking at on a small screen and the image is wider than the screen, then it's going to shrink with it. Kind of confusing, but it's easy to see what's going on whenever I put a non-responsive image, and you just do that by getting rid of this class. So this is a Bootstrap class that makes your images responsive, and this is just, a plain old image. So now let me run this and I'll show you guys. So at first, alright, not that big a deal, nothing's really different, but look what happens whenever I start to shrink this, and this is going to resemble a smaller screen like a tablet or a phone. So I'm shrinking it, and as you can see, the top one that's responsive, it's shrinking along with the device. So on a phone or a tablet, this would still look great. Now down here, look what happens. The image just gets cut off, because if it's like, hey, I'm longer than the screen, don't care, you can just chop half of me off. I mean, oops, embarrassing. So you clearly always want to use responsive images whenever you are working with Bootstrap, unless you want to go with that half of your image cut off effect, which no one ever does. Now the last thing I want to do is show you guys how to make videos responsive, and I already have this one pulled up. So grab any video on YouTube and get the code. So if you look at V equals, all of it after it is the video code. It's pretty much the ID for the video, and I'll show you how to make videos responsive. Now the first thing you need to do is you need to make a div, and the div's class is going to be embed responsive, and embed responsive 16 by 9. Now this right here is just going to say whatever item I stick in here, give it the proportions of 16 by 9, and that's a standard video's proportion. Now inside here is saying, okay, what do you want to embed? Well, we're just going to embed this as an iframe, and the parameters for this is class, and this is dependent on what you're trying to embed, but I happen to know that for YouTube videos, the one I love the most is embed responsive item, and the source, we just put the URL of the embedded video, so http www.youtube.com/embed/ that video code. Actually, let me looks good enough, don't need to clean it up. But now if you run this, check it out. Alright, so since this is responsive, whenever your screen is wide, it's going to take up the full width of the screen. So if we start to shrink this, instead of just getting cut off, since this is, I believe this video is 1920 by 1080, which is my entire computer screen, look what happens. So this is excellent no matter how big your screen is, especially recommended for tablets and phones, because look at that, nothing's getting cut off, you can play it, beautiful. So that is how you use images, responsive images, different image styles, and also how to embed responsive videos. And I know that, this looks a little bit goofy with all the different repetitive classes, embed responsive 16 by 9 is better, blah, blah, blah. But hey, you gotta yell at the people who made Bootstrap, not me. So anyways, thank you guys for watching. See you next time.